Welcome into the Fantasy Football Diagnostics Podcast, where we provide you with your weekly diagnosis of everything fantasy football. Whether it's season-long leagues, dynasty, DFS, or sometimes even IDP, we got you covered all year long. Let's do it. Let's get to it. Welcome into the Fantasy Football Diagnostics Podcast. Today is Monday, September 26th. I'm your host, John June, and got my guy over there, Greg Penniman. Greg, what's good, man?
What's going on? Crazy Sunday. Definitely had a very high extreme of games, like some really bad games and then some really good games. But yeah, man, there's so much parity in this league. It's crazy. Definitely closer than any other league I know. And we got the Giants tonight. Way to cap it off for Monday night.
Yeah, I mean, the games were all interesting except for the Jets game, which I was at. So,
oh no, they were worse than that. They were way worse than that. That Sunday night game was horrible.
No.
The game you said was gonna be horrible. Tampa
Bay. That doesn't
Bay
even count as a football game.
In Green Bay.
Like, I went to sleep. I was just like, nah. I'll watch the highlights in the morning. Like, I'm good. Like, yeah. Like there was no way I was staying up to watch that game. So, anyway, we're here to break down Week 3 and recap Week 3 football. Obviously, you are either watching us live right now on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, or you could be listening to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, or you could be watching on YouTube or Twitch or Twitter after the fact. But either way, please comment, like, subscribe, retweet, follows. I'm at John June at Jar Football Nerd, and that's G Money, Greg Penniman at GMoney_truth on Twitter. And yeah, so make sure you follow the show at FFDX as well. So, and also hit the notification if you on Twitter, hit that little notification icon. So when we do go live, you do get that notification so you don't miss the show. Anyways, trying to break down some Week 3 football here, Greg, and at least most of it. Like you said, there is a Sunday night game left. And if you're watching, one of the things I did, I went and did this morning, Greg, in one of my leagues, went and added the New York Giants defense because they play Chicago this week.
Yes, sir.
And I'm trying to follow Justin Fields. I'm just trying to play defenses that play. And look, I love Justin Fields. I thought he was a really good quarterback prospect, but the Bears are not trying to win football games. And he is the most sacked quarterback in football, right? Houston was not great, and they got him 5 times. So preview to maybe potential defensive stream of the week type talk here. But yeah, that's just a little nugget I wanted to throw out there for people that are watching live, listening live, that, maybe have an opportunity to go out there and add the Giants if they're a free agent in your league.
Or Richie James, one time, you already know.
Or Richie James, for sure.
Yes, sir.
Or
oh, man.
Or Kadarius Toney.
Oh, man.
I had to do it. Look, because he's out there in some of my leagues, and I'm really thinking about it. I know we have, obviously, our league where you're trying to convince me to drop him. But I can't cut bait, man. Unless it's like for Richie James, like I would drop Kadarius Toney for Richie James. But, I can't quit Kadarius, man. I can't. One man I know I definitely can't quit as we talk about these quarterback swags. So I got Lamar Jackson.
Yes, sir.
Pay the man.
Pay this man.
18 of 29, 218 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. Also added 11 rush attempts for 107 yards and a touchdown. The first player with consecutive back-to-back games of 3+ touchdown passes and 100 rushing yards. Only Lamar Villis could get that done there. 39.4 fantasy points, Greg. What were your thoughts on the performance by Lamar Jackson?
I mean, this is definitely what we expected once he didn't get that contract. And even if he did get it, I mean, now the pedal's on the metal for him to earn as much possible dollars as he can. The passing numbers are incredible. 10 passing touchdowns in 3 games, 3 straight games with 3 passing touchdowns or more. I mean, yeah, this man is on another level right now. He's just going to keep increasing that bankroll every game, every pass play. And he's only doing this on 30 attempts a game. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, he's wildly efficient. And the rushing is great. I mean, back-to-back games with 100 yards. Like if your quarterback had back-to-back games with 3 touchdown passes, we'd be like, "Oh wow, that's really good." If a running back had back-to-back games of 100 yards and a touchdown, you'd say, "Oh, that's pretty good." But when a quarterback does both of those things, like this is week winning type stuff here. I mean, in our league of extraordinary people, Greg, like my team didn't do a whole lot, but Lamar pretty much, dragged my team almost to the finish line. We're not done. We're not done. We still have some work left. It's, CD Lamb can't score, or Saquon Barkley can't outscore CD Lamb by 17 points or more, but I'd say probability is pretty good. But anyway, like Lamar he's carrying teams right now. Is the point I'm trying
Oh
to
yeah,
make.
absolutely. Like he's bringing first round value from a quarterback. Like this is like he's doing insane things right now.
Definitely. Moving on to the QB2 on the week, also probably not even carrying your team because he should, depending on the value that you got with this guy, he should be like within the mix, right? Like obviously this is somebody we were both high on, really high on last year, Greg. That's Jalen Hurts, 22 of 35, 340 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, 9 rushing yards, or 9 attempts for 20 rushing yards, 27.6 fantasy points. I mean, the matchup was great, obviously, against Washington. We knew that. They've been getting cooked through the air. But Jalen Hurts having a fantasy game of this magnitude with only 2 points coming from rushing, like that is what I take away from this really. But also when Stephon Diggs helped unlock Josh Allen, is it possible that AJ Brown is helping unlock Jalen Hurts here? I mean, Jalen Hurts could. I said last week, I didn't, maybe it's hyperbolic that he looked as good as some of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, but this week he's doing it again, and it's possible Jalen Hurts could be a candidate for MVP when it's all said and done, just based on how he's looked through 3 weeks.
Yeah, I would not fall for someone. I mean, I was very close to putting like $5 on a Jalen Hurts MVP like season. He's definitely on pace for doing the things that he's doing because with the Eagles being 3-0, I mean, you look at that record and the schedule there, they could possibly just finish as a top 2 or 3 seed, and that's best player and best team that automatically puts you in the conversation for sure. Yeah, he's doing what he's got to do, and he's passing numbers are getting better with each week. The attempts are getting up. I watched this entire game, and the amount of deep shots that the Eagles are taking is amazing. It's very fantasy friendly offense, very offense friendly in general. It seems like they took at least 10 shots down the field in that game.
Yeah, I just kept seeing highlights from this game, and it was just deep shots to
straight deep shots.
AJ
like
Brown,
you gotta
like
love it.
Devontae Smith, like contested catches from Devontae Smith, so yeah, crazy stuff. Another guy who's been widely regarded as leading candidate for MVP and probably is carrying your fantasy team based on where you drafted him. That would be Josh Allen. 42 completions, 63 attempts, 400 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns, 8 rush attempts for 47 rushing yards, 26.7 fantasy points there. Greg, your thoughts on the performance here by Josh Allen?
Yeah, this is what we expect from him. I mean, he could do it in any way. 63 pass attempts. You love to see that for sure. Obviously, that's not going to be a thing every game, but like they only scored 19 points and he threw 63 times. It's amazing. Yeah, he's going to keep dominating. He is this offense. First time actually a running back scored a touchdown for the Bills, which was crazy. So yeah, he's going to keep doing what he's got to do.
Does that count though? Because it was a receiving touchdown, right? If I'm not mistaken. So.
Oh yeah. A touchdown from the running back position.
I mean, but it's not a rushing touchdown. So I guess no running back has still scored a rushing touchdown for the Buffalo Bills
in a long time.
in a while. So anyway, Josh Allen was great. I mean, from a fantasy perspective, he definitely wants that game back for sure. They had an
Yeah,
opportunity to win it at the end or tie it, especially with the 2-point conversion. And then they had a chance to potentially win it, but Isaiah McKenzie couldn't get out of bounds. Either way, Josh Allen is, that's probably going to be one of the Bills' few losses of the season. I definitely, you know, as a Jets fan, I obviously don't want to see either one of these teams do well, but from a fantasy perspective, there's a lot of things that you want to see happen for these teams. With Josh Allen and Gabe Davis, Stephon Diggs, and especially what the Dolphins are doing. But as a Jets fan, I like seeing the Dolphins beat up on the Bills because then it means like the Bills aren't invincible. Maybe they're invincible to the Jets, but it just means it's like when I was watching the Patriots, it was like I like to see the Patriots lose to other teams within the division. Like I didn't care who it was, and like that's kind of how I feel about Buffalo these days. But that's enough about my rooting interest within the AFC East. We got to talk about some quarterback swags, as we round out this top 12 here. And the quarterback 4 on the week, Trevor Lawrence. Quarterback 5, that would be my start of the week, Joe Burrow. The quarterback 6, Derek Carr. Quarterback 7, Geno Smith. 8, Ryan Tannehill. 9, Kirk Cousins. 10, Jacoby Brissett. 11, Patrick Mahomes. 12, Aaron Rodgers. Greg, any of these performances within this top 12 stick out?
definitely Geno Smith. I mean, compared to that first game he played well, but I think this was a full game from him that he played from first quarter to fourth quarter. A pretty solid game. His completion percentage has been very good this year so far. So yeah, for him to be relevant in this week was pretty good and give you a QB 1 week, and he's got Detroit next week, so got some streaming conversation going.
Yeah, it's like a down year for quarterback, it seems, this year. So, I mean, Geno Smith definitely, the attempts were up there, 44 yards. I mean, the Seahawks were also, from what I remember, I think they were playing fast in this game as well.
They went for like 70 plays. Like what? That's
It was
like
a
Russ
lot
Wilson
of
is just
stuff.
like what?
Yeah, Russell
Like
Wilson's
that's
just
crazy. Like wait, like we're 70
big,
plays. Like
just big
that's
mad
wild.
over there in Denver.
Word.
Mac Jones on the borderline of a QB1 finish. That was something I was somehow interested in New England's pass offense in this game. Maybe speaks more to how bad Baltimore has been on that side, on the defensive side of the ball. Mariota was a fumble away from finishing inside the top 12. So he was my stream of the week there. And then Trevor Lawrence, man, I think really, a lot of people were willing to write him off after 1 year being coached by Urban Meyer. And, people were saying he was no longer this generational talent and how everybody was wrong. But I don't know, through 3 weeks, he looks like the guy Jacksonville thought they were getting when they spent the number 1 pick on him.
Yeah, if this was his 3 weeks of if we didn't look at his rookie year and he started his career off like this, yeah, we'd be going crazy. So yeah.
I mean, just even without that, right? Like, I think we're so used to seeing quarterbacks come in. We've been so spoiled. Like we see quarterbacks come in year 1 and play well right away that we like to write a guy off after a bad year, right? And people were saying, "Oh, I would take Mac Jones ahead of Trevor Lawrence." Would you do that today? I don't know, right? Like, I don't know. So, just something to think about when these young players get in opportunities and we think that they suck. Like David Montgomery, people thought he sucked after a year.
True. Hopefully, it's not the case for Zach Wilson, next week.
Yeah, hopefully not. We'll find out because that guy can't get worse than Joe Flacco was last week. So, speaking of guys that sucked, quarterback Jags. Sorry, Greg, but your quarterback start of the week, Matthew Stafford. He's one of the guys that highlights this list. Had a cake matchup against Arizona, but
super cake.
Yeah, did not come through here. Neither did his counterpart, Kyler Murray, who we talked about before this game, like right, like I guess you have to play him. Do you feel that way though about Kyler Murray going into fantasy matchups every week now, Greg? Like, is he a must start in your opinion?
Because he's still dual threat. I mean, he's still like I think a top 15 play. I mean, I think unless you have a really like favorable matchup, I think you can start making an argument to start him over Kyler Murray. Yeah, but this offense needs to get better. It's really bad right now. It's
Like, imagine if you just had Trevor Lawrence on your bench, right? And you were like,
yeah.
oh, I'm not going to start Trevor Lawrence over Kyler Murray. Like, but if you did through 2 weeks, I mean, these last 2 weeks, you feel pretty good about it. Maybe not last week, because last week he needed like the longest 2-point conversion play ever.
Yeah, last week he got that QB1 week. Yeah.
Like, yeah, I don't know. It's rough for Kyler Murray. It really is. Maybe D Hop helps, fix it because this offense looks broken. It really looks broken.
It is. They just backyard football. They continue with it.
It's like, hey, Kyler, make a play on 3. Ready? Break.
Yeah. And just run go routes, receivers.
Yeah, just run go routes. We'll go routes and bubble screens. That's all we do.
Yeah.
It's upsetting. So,
yeah.
You kind of just have to make do there with Kyler Murray. Hopefully, again, it gets better when DeAndre Hopkins gets back in after week 6. So that'll be week 7, Thursday night football against the New Orleans Saints. So, all right. Some other guys, Justin Herbert, that was tough because you were probably planning to not play him, and then the news came out, and then you played him, and then the results were not great.
Yeah, they fell behind early. I mean, I thought that was going to be good news, and then they just start, throwing it, airing it out crazy, but they just can never really get a solid drive going. I mean, with Eckler and the receivers and stuff like that. So it's definitely interesting. But I mean, I'm not pressed about it. As long as he's on the field playing, he should have a chance to give you QB1 week.
Yeah, I mean, he was the big thing about this is that he didn't come out of the game with any setbacks, right? Like, he's fine. He was okay, and he'll only continue to get better and more comfortable as the season goes on, right? So, Russell Wilson again. I mean, we said not to start him, but this wasn't even a game where you could get any sort of confidence out of it.
Yeah, Russell Wilson, Carson Wentz, Tua, all those guys. I think they definitely have solid weeks. Jared Goff could have had a better week as well too.
Yeah, no, he definitely a guy that we were expecting a better week from. I think that with Tua, it's tough, right? Because with Tua, you knew not to play him, right? Like we said it all week, don't play Tua. Willing to play his pieces, but don't play Tua. But then you probably got that report Sunday morning that, hey, the Bills starting safeties are out. So now you're probably thinking like, oh, snap,
yeah.
Like I went and I was like, oh, I'm gonna make a couple DFS lineups with Tua, like probably be low ownership. So,
granted, he probably was playing with a concussion the entire game, so I'm not gonna go hard on that man.
The Dolphins are calling a back injury that he injured during QB sneak.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Like a back injury made you wobble like you.
Yeah.
Like you had one too many drinks.
Yeah. No.
But okay. Well, yeah. I mean, there's the team doctor there, and then there's an independent doctor there as well. So, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, let's talk about some running back swags and the running back one on the week. Greg, you saw this one coming. I'm sure you had him.
Oh yeah.
In all your wherever you had him rostered, he was in your starting lineup, and you started him in DFS like 100%, right? Like Khalil Herbert. Because everybody saw this coming against Houston. 20 carries, 157 rushing yards, 2 rushing touchdowns. Also added 2 catches on 2 targets for 12 receiving yards, 30.9 PPR points. I was one of those people that I was not as smart as you, Greg. I did not start Khalil Herbert in my fantasy league. He was just sitting on my bench, and so I had to sweat out like a close win in one of my leagues. But watching Khalil Herbert's 30 points on my bench, along with the next
I
guy
mean,
we'll talk about a little bit later.
if Dave Montgomery if he was a starting running back, I mean, I would definitely expect this. He started the game out because Khalil Herbert is a RB1 when he's in the game. He's probably the most popular stash, like RB2, like that Alexander Madison type play, but I think he's even better, has more upside than Alexander Madison. So yeah, I'm in the league where I have David Montgomery, have Khalil Herbert. David Montgomery, I think, was in a great spot here too if he didn't get injured. So yeah, this is a guy that should be rostered in 99% of leagues. Definitely not, of course. But yeah, he's ready to tee off at any point.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what you said about Khalil Herbert being, being in a better situation. The only difference is than Alexander. Look, I agree with a lot of what you said about Khalil Herbert being in a better situation than Alexander Madison. The only thing about Alexander Madison's situation is that his offense is probably better, but Khalil Herbert, I agree, I think to me, has a lot more upside. I just remember last year he was one of those guys that in preseason he would be running kickoffs, and I'm like, yo, there's some like this kid, like he can move in the open field, like space, vision, he can run, like he's powerful. And then I remember just stashing him on teams. And when David Montgomery went down, he had that stretch where it was like 100-yard game after 100-yard game, not scoring any touchdowns, but he's just balling. And what's that thing you used to say about Alexander Madison, Greg? Like, if Dalvin Cook is rostered in 100%
Oh
of
yeah,
leagues,
yeah. Then Alexander Madison should be rostered to 100% of leagues. It's safer David Montgomery and Khalil Herbert. Yeah, for sure.
Oh man, yeah. So I'm sure he's the top waiver wire
Oh
guy.
yeah, yeah. You're spending you're breaking bank for him.
We
For
don't
Khalil
have
Herbert.
official word on the injury here for David Montgomery, but he did leave Sunday's game with a knee and an ankle, and apparently head coach Matt Eberflus said that he is day to day, which, as I always say on this show, coaches are liars. They're inherently liars. Day to day means week to week. Week to week means month to month, and anything after that is just really, really bad. So, Dave Montgomery's day to day. So take that with
On a team that's throwing like 15 times a game. Yeah, I want Khalil Herbert.
yeah, for sure. Especially if he's going to rip off 52-yard runs like he did in this game, average 7.8 yards per carry. Yeah, Khalil Herbert's a good player, so definitely got to be prioritized in waivers. The RB2, who's probably not on your waivers, but there's somebody in a league probably did it. Derrick Henry, 20 carries, 85 rushing yards, 1 rushing touchdown, 5 catches on 6 targets for 58 receiving yards, good for 25.3 PPR points. Greg, your thoughts on the performance here by King Henry?
Yeah, definitely love this to see further the boost of confidence into Derrick Henry managers and stuff. I mean, the Titans, they were in the game. They were winning most of the game. So it's just a good formula. If the Titans are going to be a good team that helps Derrick Henry, like for sure. The 5 catches is great. I think obviously 5 is probably like a stretch, but I think he can get 2 or 3. Seems like he can. That could be realistic for sure as far as his reception numbers. And yeah, it just comes down to this team success of the Tennessee Titans for sure. So they got to keep playing at a decent level.
Yeah, Derrick Henry was actually more involved as a pass catcher when the year started last year, and that's definitely something through the first 2 games that they did not repeat, which was just surprising to me because when you lose AJ Brown, you lose Julio Jones, there's these receptions available. They should go to players like Derrick Henry. And so through 2 weeks, he had 0 receiving yards. It's funny because on Prize Picks, hashtag not a sponsor, but on Prize Picks, his prop yesterday was like 5.5 receiving yards. And I was like, oh, I should take the under because he's not getting targeted, and so but I didn't take it anyway because I was like, oh, what's today's the day he catches like 2 passes, and then here's the day he catches 558. So there we go. No, Derrick Henry last week was the opportunity to buy. Greg, I know you were hesitant because potentially the Titans being a bad football team and Derrick Henry being a little bit older and coming back from the injury. Did this game change your mind in any way?
I think he's in that RB1 territory. I think the top 3, top 5. I mean, granted, all these running backs are looking real rough right now, so maybe he does still finish in that top 5 realm. I mean, they did play the now 0-3, the only 0-3 team in the league, the Las Vegas Raiders. So that does help.
Are they the only 0-3 team in the league?
Yeah, the only 0-3 team in the league, yo. Crazy. Yeah, yo.
I saw a stat today that they were the only winless team in the AFC with Houston, but I didn't realize.
I mean, I guess Atlanta must have a win.
Yeah, Atlanta beat Seattle, so they got
a win. Okay. Yeah. So then
that must be true then.
Well, yeah, because some teams have ties. So yeah.
But yeah, the only teams that have ties are Indy and Houston.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right, that makes sense. So with Derrick Henry, it's like somewhat
borderline RB1.
Yeah, I think he's definitely borderline RB1. Like, let's not misconstrue much, right? Like this, like we expected him to have a good game because the matchup was good. And so I think we said, like, if he doesn't have a good game, then I would be concerned because the matchup is really good here. The targets is definitely something that's intriguing to me. The Derrick Henry manager is probably not going to be willing to sell him to you after this game because this was the game that kind of validated their belief in him when they drafted him as highly as they did. So, maybe you have an opportunity, but that ship, the maximum value was probably last week. Someone whose value has probably skyrocketed, this next guy on the list, Jamal Williams, RB3 on the week, 20 rush attempts, 87 rushing yards, 2 rushing touchdowns, also added 2 catches on 2 targets for 20 receiving yards, total of 24.7 PPR points. Greg, your thoughts on the performance here of Jamal Williams, who very well may be the starting running back for the Detroit Lions over weeks 5 and week 6, as DeAndre Swift is expected to be out until after the Lions bye in week 6, which would put him in line for a week 7 matchup against the Dallas Cowboys. So seems like Jamal Williams will be the starter for that time. Greg, what were your thoughts on this performance this week and I guess, a little mini spotlight going forward?
Yeah, definitely not surprised by Jamal Williams' output. I mean, in the first couple games he dominates all of the goal line touches. So like he's going to be getting touchdowns similar to like James Conner kind of last year. He's going to be dominating between the lines, and he's just a good football player too. So he's going to be out there getting a lot of touches on a better team, a better offense. So yeah, he's got RB1 upside every week. I think I would probably see him as a high in RB2 for the next couple of weeks while DeAndre Swift is out, and even when he still has standalone volume, even when Swift is back in that RB2 to low end RB2 territory.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely, an RB an RB2 to say the least. He's going to have some RB1 weeks.
Yeah.
The matchups coming up, got a matchup week 4 against Seattle and then week 5 against New England. So those are 2 matchups that I think he'll, definitely perform well in. And so if he's available in your league, like, which he shouldn't be, but if he's available in your league,
yeah, probably not.
He is the number 1 waiver priority.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Because he also has standalone value even when Swift is healthy. And so he should be the number one waiver wire ad if he's available. Assuming he's not. I've been working really hard to try to get Jamal Williams in our League of Extraordinary People because I do have DeAndre Swift, and that manager is very stubborn, and they typically are impossible for me to do deals with, and which is why I didn't even attempt before the injury. But basically, I'm SOL. If you don't know it, then you should Google it. But anything else you want to add here about Jamal Williams being an RB3 on the week, Greg?
No.
Rounding out the running back swags, the rest of them here. Devin Singletary coming in at 4, Cordero Patterson 5, James Robinson coming in at 6. Round of applause.
It's a kill, man.
Straight dominating. So just shout out to James Robinson there, coming in as the RB6. Ramondre Stevenson coming in at 7. Damian Pierce finally that draft capital hit for you, coming in at 8. Nick Chubb coming in at 9. Melvin Gordon 10. Chase Edmonds 12, and Breece Hall coming in. Chase Edmonds 11, and then Breece Hall coming in as the RB 12 there. Greg, any thoughts on the running back performances?
Yeah, you definitely like to see a couple of these names. Well, of course, James Robinson and Ramondre Stevenson, both the New England Patriots running backs, probably had both their best games of the season so far. Breece Hall, getting into that RB1 territory. I mean, he's definitely just slowly but surely steading up as far as usage and his production. And Damian Pierce, the last 2 games, he's been dominating the touches and everything. So definitely, it was he's getting all that kind of that RB2, RB1 usage. So you love to see that. These names are pretty good. James Robinson is a beast, man. He just, from all the injuries he's been through, like no name, undrafted and everything, like he's a success story.
Yeah, I mean, they counted him out. Before draft day.
He tore his ACL, and then he tore his facts.
Did he tear his ACL?
All right, he tore something at the end of the breakout year, and then he got injured again last year. I think he had 2 major injuries. I feel like
you might be right.
Also,
but, yeah, we'll get that fact checked. But anyway, he's been balling. Honorable mentions, Clyde. You got to sell right now,
bro. This is go.
It's right
now, bro. Right now. Last week would have been better, but maybe someone does not click into his name and look at the stat line. They just see his output, and hopefully they just press.
And they see that he's like do it in NFL fantasy where it tells you where he's ranked.
Yeah, don't do it. It has the rank next to it. Yeah.
It'll be like, oh, he's the RB 8, and they'll be like, oh, that's perfect.
Yeah, go trade Clyde for Damian Pierce or something. I don't know.
Damian Pierce plus a flex or a bench wide receiver. I don't know. You got to do something because Clyde.
You got
maybe I'm not getting Damian Pierce. Probably gonna get Damian Pierce because
you might get him straight up.
I'll get James Robinson plus.
No way the guy, James Robinson, manager is going to give you James Robinson for Clyde.
You don't think so?
No way. No way.
If they're just box score shopping, right? You don't think so?
James Robinson's been finishing higher than him, I feel like, every week.
All right. Would you use James Robinson or Clyde Edwards-Helaire to go get Breece Hall?
Yes. Yeah. There we go. Yeah.
Breece Hall plus. I think you got to do that because my man had 0. Greg, you and I did not play in an NFL game this week. We had the same amount of rushing yards as Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Yeah, no, it's bad. It's just usage in general has been bad. He's only giving 7 carries a game. It's crazy.
5 targets for 5 receptions, 39 receiving yards, added a rushing touchdown.
They got Tampa next week. It's not getting any better.
Yeah, it's time to sell.
Yeah.
They got Buffalo in 2 weeks. Probably last week
or 3 weeks. Yeah.
2 weeks ago, but right now you got to do it. You have to.
Oh,
Yeah. Josh Jacobs, who wasn't expected to play, didn't travel with the team, but then ended up traveling to meet the team. He steps in as the RB14 on the week, so his usage has been phenomenal, but the production hasn't quite been there. He's probably a guy that I would buy. Yeah, I would
yep.
probably
There's a lot
send
of guys I
Clyde.
would buy.
Yeah, send Clyde. Go get Josh Jacobs plus. Like that'd probably be something you could do. Yeah, Dalvin Cook shoulder injured his shoulder. Seems like he's going to be okay, but could have had a bigger day. 17 carries, 96 yards, and a touchdown against the
Yeah,
Lions.
he was gonna go off. He was about to go off.
Yeah. Let's talk about some Jags, man. Uh, damn, your running back star of the week, Joe Mixon. He ends up on here. DeAndre Swift. We talk about his injury a little bit. Javante Williams was another.
Alvin Kamara.
Alvin Kamara. Yeah, that was another one for sure. Antonio Gibson, Jonathan Taylor, Leonard Fournette, Miles Sanders. Matt says, "What's good, guys? What's good, Matt?
What's going on? Man, Alvin Kamara has been a season-long Jag, yo. This is
It's been
rough,
pretty
man.
good.
It's rough.
Well, all right. Would you take your Clyde Edwards-Helaire and go get an Alvin Kamara?
I still would, but yeah. No, I still would, but
Like, what would you have to get in return to make that happen? Like Clyde Edwards-Helaire or Alvin Kamara, and then like a wide receiver 2 or like a wide receiver 3.
Oh, that the
like,
guy would so yeah, probably wide receiver 3 be the most you get because he's still a name. Alvin Kamara still like you're still buying the name at this point.
Yeah, it's tough because he's a guy that you know the talent level, but they're not haven't been giving him the work that you would like.
Targets aren't there either.
Targets aren't there, so it's tough. So what do you really do there? And I think in a situation like that, because I don't have Alvin Kamara in a lot of leagues. I have him in some leagues though, and in the leagues that I do have him, I find myself just starting him every week, except for obviously the last week when he was injured. But you just tell yourselves the same thing with Dalvin Cook and the Christian McCaffreys and the Derrick Henrys. It's like, oh well, he'll get better, right? But at one point, like the volume isn't what it was when he was, Alvin Kamara. So
yeah,
it makes it tough, but like if Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Alvin Kamara are like Clyde's not seeing like Alvin Kamara is not getting the touchdown opportunity that Clyde's getting. So if Alvin Kamara was getting those touchdowns, we wouldn't be sitting here saying sell Alvin Kamara. We'd be like keep Alvin Kamara, right? Because Alvin Kamara's at least got some volume. He's just not getting enough volume, and he's not getting targets. So I think that's the difference there where I would want to buy into Alvin Kamara and get off of a Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Yeah, I mean, Clyde is more likely to fall off the face of the fantasy world very quicker than Kamara.
Yeah, for sure. All right, that's any other running back Jags for you, Greg?
No, I think we're good.
All right, let's talk about some wide receiver swags, and it starts with this guy right here, the wide receiver 1 on the week, Devontae Smith, aka Skinny Batman. 8 receptions, 12 targets, 169 receiving yards, and a touchdown. Added, was 21.1 yards per reception in this one, Greg. 14 yards per target, 30.9 PPR points. Your thoughts on the performance here by Skinny Batman? Not to be confused with Swole Batman or Fast Batman, but Skinny Batman. No Roberts.
Yeah, man. Devontae Smith, man, killing out here. Yeah, he's a great bounce back from week 1. I mean, we knew not to really panic on him. Just the amount of time this offense is just more towards throwing the ball and then really using 3 guys, and that's Devontae Smith, AJ Brown, and Dallas Goedert, and with Jalen Hurts being, getting better and better as a passer every week, it looks like Devontae Smith is in for a great bounce back season, and just the amount of deep shots that these guys are going to get is going to be great to see.
Yeah, we weren't panicking on him after week 1. I mean, this is a wide receiver position. There's going to be a lot of volatility week to week. So those kinds of weeks are going to happen. But also these kinds of weeks happen, and that's why you don't give up on the guy. So Devontae Smith, yeah, he's going to continue to dog. He's got a great opportunity. He's attached to what's looking like an MVP candidate at quarterback. So, Devontae Smith has to be in their lineup week to week. The wide receiver 2 on the week, I mean, we did talk about him. We spoke about him. We said don't forget about him, especially if Hunter Renfrow can't go. Because he was in some of my DFS lineups. So I got to make sure we did talk about it. But Mac Hollins, the wide receiver 2 on the week, 8 receptions, 10 targets, 158 receiving yards, and a touchdown there. 29.96 PPR points on the week. Greg, your thoughts on the performance here of Mac Hollins?
Yeah, definitely. Surprising that this boom, of course, is here, but yeah, definitely a name now. Second straight week with at least 8 targets. Second straight week with at least 5 catches. So he's definitely being involved in this offense. Part of the reason why, Devontae Smith or Darren Waller hasn't really gone super off yet is because of Mac Hollins and his presence. So it'd be interesting to see how it's going to keep going season long, because with Hunter Renfrow possibly coming back, is how the target share is going to be, or is it going to be that these guys are just going to keep kind of vulture each other out, Darren Waller, Devontae, and Mac Hollins?
Yeah, I mean, part of it feels like game script dependent as well. They got down in this game. Last week they weren't really down; they were up for most of it. But this game they were down. This game they didn't have Hunter Renfrow. Mac Hollins is kind of like one of those size speed freaks. So the 20 yards per catch doesn't shock me. It's just he's not a guy that's typically seen this much volume in the past, but he is clearly somebody that Derek Carr trusts, and Derek Carr definitely is going to target him, especially with Devontae Adams being, I don't know, one of the best receivers in football. He's going to get attention week to week from the defense. He's going to be a huge part of their game plan. And so, Mac Hollins is going to get involved, especially if, people are paying attention to, if all the attention is being paid to Devontae Adams and Darren Waller.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think he's got some wide receiver 3 value.
Definitely. And the wide receiver 3 on the week, man. This one just cracks me up, man. Marquise Hollywood Brown. 17 targets, 14 receptions, 140 receiving yards, and 28 PPR points. Greg, we all tilt, right? Like, we all tilt, and we all make emotional decisions sometimes. We shouldn't, right? Resist the tilt. Resist the tilt. But I didn't resist the tilt, Greg. I have Hollywood Brown in my fantasy league, and my fantasy league with all my college friends, and it's my longest standing league, and it means so much, and all these other things, right? I have Hollywood in that league, and I've been frustrated for 2 weeks, and you can probably feel my frustration because you end up beating me this week, so now you're 2-1 in the FanDuel contest.
Yeah,
Hollywood Brown scored more FanDuel points than any player in either one of our lineups. 21 FanDuel points. Scored more FanDuel points than any player in any of our lineups, and you went to go pick him, and I stubbornly said, tongue in cheek, that's a lot of that's a lot of money for 9.
It is.
9.5 PPR.
He heard you.
Hollywood here comes out and puts up 28 PPR points, 21 half PPR points, But that's not even where the kicker comes in, Greg. The kicker comes in. I told you that I went to the Jets game, right? So standing in line, it's like 12:50. I'm like, Hollywood hasn't done anything. I feel the Elijah
Oh
Moore game
man.
coming, you know?
Oh man, you got some liquid coverage too, probably.
So here I go
Oh,
swapping in Elijah Moore for Hollywood Brown. He was Marquise at the time.
dang,
And
yo, that's tough.
yeah, I still won, thank God. I
Yeah,
still won. But to watch the agony and this every catch that Hollywood Brown, it's like you ever root against a player on your own fantasy team. It's like every
yeah.
catch Hollywood had, I was just like, no, wait, no, pass interference. That's holding penalty on the Cardinals. You know, it was just terrible. So, if Hollywood, if all I had to do was talk trash about you on this show to get you to win, like to get you to do this, like I would have done that a long time ago. I just didn't want to have to resort to that. But
Yeah,
Greg, your
no,
thoughts on the
definitely.
performance here? Am I tilt?
That's crazy though. Yeah, I mean, you had to expect something like this coming. He's the number one receiver clearly. They don't really. The offense is just pitiful. They just throw a bunch of go routes. But I think Marquise Brown, he's gonna be number one receiver. That target share is amazing. You love to see that. That's what he was getting in the close to that in the first couple of weeks. So I'm glad he finally came through. Yeah, I mean, I'm still rate him as a strong wide receiver too.
Yeah, I mean he's definitely this performance was great, but this doesn't change the fact that he is what he is, which is he's a wide receiver two with who's gonna have wide receiver 3 weeks and he's gonna have some wide receiver 1 weeks, and especially the state of the wide receiver position, like DK Metcalf, he had a decent week, right? Like, I mean, we'll talk about the rest of the honorable mentions. I mean, yeah, well, he had a decent week. 17.4 PPR points, and he finished as the wide receiver 17. So, like, that just tells you what kind of weeks wide receivers are having and what it really takes to differentiate yourself. But rounding out the rest of the wide receiver swags here, Russell Gage coming in at the wide receiver 4 spot, Zay Jones coming in at 5, Chris Olave 6, Amari Cooper 7, Romeo Dobbs 8, Isaiah McKenzie 9, Devontae Parker 10, Tyler Boyd 11, and AJ Brown coming in as the wide receiver 12. Greg, your thoughts on the performances here of these top 12 wide receivers?
Yeah, man, these are definitely some good names in here. Some new names, some rookie names in here. So you love to see that around week 3, week 4. You start seeing these rookie receivers breaking out on a more consistent basis. But yeah, you're right about these receivers putting up these numbers. I mean, should have took J. Jeff and then Diggs or AJ Brown round 1, round 2.
You mean zero RB is
zero
like
RB. Oh man, I mean, this might be the year of it. It always feels like something always flows every year to year, but
no, this
uh,
is next year is
this
going to
is
be the year everybody goes zero RB because it's going to be an
right, and
overreaction
then
to this year.
yep, and then RBs are back next year.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll be on it though.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Um, I mean, yeah. I mean, if you look at my League of Extraordinary People team, I did kind of fade running backs, but that wasn't because I was like, I never go into a draft saying, oh, I'm going to fade running backs, or I'm going to fade wide receivers. Like, I never go in, like, I just try to take the value where I see it. But anyway, yeah, I do agree with what you said. It's good to see some of these rookie performances, like Romeo Dobbs, who
Mm-hmm.
we knew would probably become necessary for Aaron Rodgers in this game. Chris Olave was somebody that I know I definitely spoke about. Being one of the league leaders in air yards. 147 receiving yards on 13 targets. That's back-to-back weeks now with 13 targets for him. And then some honorable mentions, man. Christian Kirk, again, I said it, I was passionate about it, but I feel like he's got to be a wide receiver 1 every week. Zay Jones, that's another guy. Like, I said it last week, I would play him again because they didn't need him in that game. They needed him in this game. He saw 11 targets. So the Jags offense is legit. It's for real, and I want pieces from it.
Yeah, totally agree.
Any other honorable mentions, Greg? I mean, Adam Thielen got in the end zone.
Back. Yeah, Cortland Sutton, I think had a really good game too.
Yeah.
If for him to put up his numbers in an 11-10 game, like that's really good.
Yeah. No, he had a great week, but it was just the 11-10 game part for me.
Yeah,
It was
bro.
like, nah,
It's
bro.
it was bad, yo.
Quillen's son, he deserves his flowers, so we got to give him that. He performed well in a game with a combined 21 total points. Hey, would you have taken more points in the Jacoby Brissett Mitch Trubisky game or the Jimmy Garoppolo Russell
Yeah,
Wilson?
crazy, yo. Crazy. I don't know. Russell Wilson about to tee off next week, man. That's all I'm saying.
I think we might even get well, we should get more points in the Daniel Jones Cooper Rush game.
Yeah, I think we'll get more points. Maybe from defensive points though.
Those still
And
count.
yeah, 2 of those points were safety. Yeah, so technically it was 19. Crazy.
Oh, and not even because the defense made a great play, because Jimmy Garoppolo,
the quarterback, Dan Orlovsky's type.
He channeled his inner Dan Orlovsky. I feel like Dan Orlovsky should have handled it better, because he was like, "Hey, I'm free," but Mark Sanchez, shout out to New York Jets, but after the butt punt that happened in the Miami game, Mark Sanchez tweeted at Thomas Morstead, the punter, and said, "Hey, stay out of my lane."
Yeah. Amazing, yo. Amazing, yo. Oh man, two plays though.
Two iconic plays in 1 week.
Crazy.
That we are reminded of. Okay, let's talk about these Jags, man. And anyone you want to start with, Greg?
Jerry Jeudy could have had a better game. Justin Jefferson.
I'm not gonna hold anything against Jerry Jeudy.
Yeah, he was hurt. He was coming off an injury. Definitely Justin Jefferson though.
Justin Jefferson for sure.
It's 2 straight weeks where like you want it, like you're drafting him to put up at least 15 plus,
right?
Every week. So
why when I could have drafted? I could have just I don't know, drafted not a running back, but like Stephon Diggs.
Probably Diggs or something. Yeah.
Right?
Devontae Adams. Another slow game.
Are you buying any of those guys?
Yeah, I'm still with J. Jeff and Devontae. Think those two. Yeah.
I will throw one out there, Jamar Chase. I mean, he did score a touchdown, but only had 26 receiving yards.
Yeah, he didn't. The eye test though, he didn't look very good yesterday.
Oh, you know what? The eye test, Sauce Gardner was getting in that.
Okay.
Strap.
Okay.
Yeah, it was to see that live. There was one pass breakup, long pass play, and Sauce made a great play, and then I think there was even I didn't see it because I was at the game, but like there was video of it after on the broadcast. They saw Jamar Chase was getting really annoyed with Sauce Gardner. So it was interesting to see that one. Elijah Moore, who I talked about, didn't play great. I mean, what are we doing with him at this point? I'm not allowed to answer this because he's and
it is tough because I think Garrett Wilson's kind of taking over this role. But honestly, we don't know. Next week is Zach Wilson. It's a whole new quarterback. It's a whole new could be a whole new array of who gets target share and everything like that. So I'd probably be willing to hold on one more week. I don't think he's a drop candidate yet, but I think he's. I think we got to see how this target share is going to play out next week.
Yeah, he still had 10 targets yesterday. Garrett Wilson had 10 targets, but he probably should have had more. Did leave the game for a little bit with a rib injury. But like you said, Zach Wilson comes back next week. I sit here and I say this, but the Steelers are not good against wide receivers, right? So there is a possibility here where I might be on this show in 4 days from now saying, hey, maybe we could play Elijah Moore. So if that version of me comes on here, take it with a grain of salt. But as we sit here right now, Elijah Moore I agree with you. He's not somebody I'm dropping. The only way I would drop Elijah Moore is like to pick up like Garrett Wilson.
Right.
I mean, I say that tongue in cheek, right? But like, if Elijah Moore is on your bench and you have like this loaded roster, and you have it's like Jamal Williams or Elijah Moore, or it's like Khalil Herbert or Elijah Moore, like one of these guys, and yeah, I'm gonna drop him, especially because
Yeah.
with the way Elijah Moore has been producing or not producing, it's gonna take a breakout game from him for managers in your league to say, "Oh, I'm gonna pick him up," because
Yeah.
yeah. Anything else you want to add to that, Greg?
No, shout out to my man Greg Dortch though, because this man he keeps putting up some numbers. I mean, I don't know what's gonna happen when Rondo Moore comes back, but
That's
Greg Dortch.
exactly what I was gonna say. Is shout out to Greg Dortch, but pick up Rondell Moore. Like,
Yeah.
like go add Rondell Moore. Rondell Moore is
Yeah,
probably available in your league. It's probably on waivers. If somebody doesn't have an IR spot, like add Rondell Moore. Like he should be on your team, because all those Greg Dortch targets, those are all going to be Rondell Moore in a little bit.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. I hope so. I mean, we'll see. Either that or they just start vulturing each other. So we'll see.
Yeah, it's either that or Greg Dortch just while he pipped Rondell Moore. But I don't know. Rondell Moore's got too much juice. We'll see.
Draft capital too, yeah.
Greg Dortch, former New York Jet, by the way. Just have to throw that out there. Tyreek Hill, also another one. Rashad Bateman. I think that finally the game that we I was kind of alluding to last week finally came here, where he didn't score a long touchdown. Allen Robinson, what are we doing with that guy?
I mean, I'm never too high on Allen Robinson. I mean, he's a wide receiver 3. I mean, that's going to possibly get you some 2 wide receivers. Matthew Stafford didn't play well, so like that does tie into that. But I think with more favorable games, he'll have some solid weeks. I just I think you can find some players to start over him though if the matchup is right, and another guy, that guy's got momentum or something.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. I mean, Allen Robinson is a guy. I mean, he didn't play well, but Matthew Stafford didn't play well. Even Cooper Kupp didn't have a great game, like you were alluding to, and so yeah, he's probably on my bench, but I'm not gonna stop him against somebody like Elijah Moore. Like I'm not gonna stop him from. I'm not gonna allow him to stop me from adding a guy like a Khalil Herbert or Jamal Williams, one of these guys.
Yeah.
And Traylon Burks didn't have the game that I thought he would have, so
he did run a lot of routes.
Definitely, did run a lot of routes. Was heavily involved. I mean, they didn't need to throw the football a lot in this game, so probably adds to some of that. But he's definitely somebody I'm still interested in.
Oh yeah, I think.
All right, let's move on to the tight end position. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I think so. Yeah.
All right, let's move on to tight end position. These tight end swags, man, and number one on the week, no surprise, Mark Andrews, 8 receptions, 13 targets, 89 receiving yards, 2 touchdowns, 28.9 PPR points on the week. Greg, do we have you there, or do you have any thoughts on our performance here for Mark Andrews?
Yeah, I'd love to see either Mark Andrews or Travis Kelce finishing at 1. I mean, it's like, the tight end land is right in the world. He's continuing to dominate. As Lamar Jackson continues to get better as a passer and throw these monster numbers, Mark Andrews is going to be directly tied to that. So, keep throwing him out there as tight end 1, tight end 2 every week. Like
absolutely,
tight end 2. Yeah.
Agree with that for sure. Tight end 2 on the week, David Njoku, who we spoke about on Thursday, but going to give him his flowers still. 9 catches, 10 targets, 89 receiving yards, and a touchdown. Anything to add here on David Njoku, Greg?
It's definitely a very great game from him. You love the 16 targets. Maybe we can hopefully, if Jacoby Brissett can build some consistency with the passing offense, David Njoku could have some low end tight end one value going forward.
Yeah, no, definitely agree with that. And then the tight end 3 of the week, no surprise here either. Travis Kelce, 4 catches, 4 targets, 58 receiving yards, and a touchdown. Also added 1 yard rushing. Could have had an even bigger day with a drop touchdown there. 17.9 PPR points. Greg, your thoughts on the performance here by Travis Kelce?
Yeah, in a game where the Chiefs offensively wasn't the Chiefs, he's the main pass catcher. He's the main wide receiver tight end. That's the only pass catcher I want rostered and playing week to week starter on the Kansas City Chiefs. It's really about it.
Yeah, definitely the only constant week to week in this offense other than Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
And then something that we're gonna do before we get into the swags, the rest of the swags, just because I felt compelled to do it. The touchdown or nah tight end of the week this week is Jelani Woods, the Indianapolis Colts tight end. 2 catches on 3 targets, 2 touchdown receptions, 13 yards to finish as the tight end 5 of the week. One of those touchdowns was actually a game-winning touchdown for the Indianapolis Colts. So, shout out to the homie Jelani Woods, tight end or touchdown or not tight end of the week. Greg, your thoughts here?
I mean, the Colts seem to be using a couple tight ends now. Got them the dub. Taken away from all those other receivers besides Michael Pittman, pretty much. So, yeah, it's definitely interesting. Good job on him for sure.
That's what happens when you completely spring a new segment on your co-host. Touchdown or not tight end of the week. But anyway, rounding out this top 12 of tight ends, the tight end 4, Tyler Conklin, 5, Jelani Woods, 6, Kyle Pitts, finally,
Thank God.
7, Will Dissly, 8, Jordan Akins, 9, Dallas Goedert, my start of the week, 10, Jeff Swaim, 11, TJ Hawkinson, and 12, Zach Ertz. Greg, any of these performances stick out to you at the tight end position?
Definitely Kyle Pitts. I mean, him getting the breakout performance he needed. Still not the touchdown yet, which is even a great indicator that hopefully when these touchdowns come, he starts putting up like Travis Kelce, Mark Andrew weeks, and Dallas Goedert continue to be very consistent there. And yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, could have even been a bigger day for Dallas Goedert, but he left with a shin injury at some point. I thought we were on to a monster day. Like, scores the first touchdown. I was like, yes, like feeling really good about it. And then, ends up getting injured and whatnot.
And they didn't need him in the second half anyway. So,
no. Yeah. And then Kyle Pitts, I mean, he's, obviously we talked about him and how I felt about him these first 2 games and felt something was happening in this game, and I'm glad to see that come to fruition. Led the team in targets there a week after the coach said that, coach was getting heat for not giving him targets. So, and then Tyler Conklin coming in tight end 4, had a great day there as a PPR machine there at the tight end position. So he's definitely solid tight end option since week 1.
Gabi mentioned on the waiver, man.
Greg, any thoughts on your guy TJ Hawkinson? 3 catches, 4 targets, 18 receiving yards, and a touchdown.
Got the touchdown, which is cool. Finished tight end 11. I mean, in the tight end market, I still think he has tight end 1 value. I see him like no more. I feel like he's no more impressive than like a Pratt Freiermuth level right now, though, for sure. Like, so
I think Freiermuth has been more impressive, especially when you consider draft capital.
Yeah. Draft capital. Yeah. That's true.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, Yeah, I mean, I don't know because we look at a week where he finishes the tight end 11. Yeah, that's fine. But like Jeff Swaim, Jordan Akins, Will Disley, Jelani Woods, that's like three.
Tight
That's
end
four
13
guys.
last week too. I mean, he's tight end 13 last week, or was he tight end?
You drafted him as tight end 6 to finish tight end 13.
No, not even not last week. Week 1 for sure. But yeah, I mean, I'm not excited, but in the tight end market, I'm not selling or buying. Who you buying? It's the tight ends.
Oh man, if this was Kyle Pitts, we would be through the roof.
Yeah, because he was drafted before TJ Hawkinson. Still, you were taking him before like. There's still a grouping. TJ Hawkinson wasn't in that.
Like the sixth round. That's still early.
That is still early. 6th round. I mean, I wasn't taking the 6th round.
I wasn't, but he was going like between round 6 and 7.
Yeah. You saw him as like a probably hopefully be like data scholar upside.
Yeah, you were like, I'm getting the tight end 6 or 7.
Yeah.
Right, like when you drafted Dallas, you were drafting Dallas Goedert and TJ Hawkinson and Dalton Schultz all within that same range because you're like, I'm getting the tight end 6 or 7.
Right now, he's the tight end 12.
Yeah, I mean it's better than Kyle Pitts.
Yes. For sure.
Yeah, but I don't know. It wouldn't finish that way though. Yeah, I don't know. I got something against Hawk this year. I'm on a mission.
That's every year though.
No, it's not every year.
After the rookie year.
After the rookie year, I was high on Hawk. I think you know what it was. I think it's because I was high on Hawk last year, like going into last year. And I had him on a decent amount of my team, and he was frustrating. He was really frustrating that the roster. Like he would have like these occasional weeks where it was like, oh yeah, I'm great. I'm tight end 5. And then he would have weeks where he would just disappear. It was super frustrating. So yeah, I turned down on Hawk after last year, and I came into the season. He was like my tight end, I think 9 or 10. Like I had ranked him really low.
There you go. That's where he's rated. That's what he's doing. The low end tight end.
All right, let's talk about some Jags, man. We spent enough time talking about this Jag. Talk about some other Jags.
For tight end, tight ends are best. The tight end market.
George Kittle, Darren Waller, Irv Smith, Dawson Knox, Pat Freiermuth, and Gerald Everett pretty much make up the Jags, the tight end Jags this week.
Yeah, it's rough for Dawson Knox. Is droppable.
I'm glad you said it and not me because he was definitely my bust at the tight end position.
He's droppable. Cole Kmet is also droppable too.
Oh, that Cole Kmet was droppable like 2 weeks ago. After week 1, after week 1, I threw out that game because it was week 1, and then week 2,
right.
I was like, nah, I'm not. There's no excuse. Like he's droppable. So yeah, but I was willing to drop him after week 1 anyway. So because I think there were some other guys like Logan Thomas who he was droppable a Jag. Too. Yeah. I tried to warn you, Greg, but you wouldn't listen to me.
You took Cole Kmet, so it's tight ends, yo.
It's the tight ends, right? It's cool. I was too busy focused on getting Hunter Henry as late round value. So basically, what this means is we should learn our lesson and just try to take tight ends early, right? Well, I mean that's always
the top. Yeah, unless you got, unless you're in the top 3, then you can get a Tyler Conklin undrafted or I don't know, Irv Smith Jr. or like I don't know, something like
Gerald
that.
Everett, Pat
Gerald Everett, to get you some.
Pat Freiermuth was drafted.
Nah, he was drafted. Yeah, those 2 guys. Yeah.
All right, let's make a move on it. We are running a little bit over, and we still have to get into waivers. But let's talk about a little about some injuries that lead into these waivers. I'll just run through them real quick. New England quarterback Mac Jones could be going to the short-term IR with dealing with a high ankle sprain. Seems like it's one of those severe ones that doesn't require surgery, but we'll need to miss some time. So maybe up goes the running backs, but down goes the whole offense in New England. Who knows? We'll see. Um, for Detroit, we talked about Swift already, but he's expected to be out until after week 6. Chicago running back Dave Montgomery, we also spoke about him, left Sunday's game with a knee and an ankle injury. He's day to day, as Coach said, Coach Eberflus. And then Cincinnati running back Joe Mixon left Sunday's game in the fourth quarter and did not return with what seems like a leg injury. So, Greg, what about waivers and who are the guys to add? And let's start at the quarterback position this week.
Yeah, got 2 names on my list right now. One, Geno Smith. He's 9% roster currently. I think one because he's been pretty efficient with his completion percentage. Got 3 straight games with over 225 yards. That's solid. I mean, the interception numbers are a little alarming, but I think in a game where there won't be 70 plays per game for Seattle every week, but it seems like they're pushing the pace a little bit more. And the fact that they have Detroit next week is pretty solid. I think it's a good matchup. Sorry, done at 225 yards all 3 games, but 325 yesterday. And I like his prospects for next week if you're in need of a quarterback for sure. And Jameis Winston, he's back down to 42% rostered, but had a solid week this week, throwing for 353 yards. Had the touchdown. They got Minnesota next week. I think that would be a little more high scoring opportunity for him. And now that he's finding his array of weapons, he's got multiple options to pass to with Chris Olave now, adding to the addition with Michael Thomas, Juwan Johnson. Hopefully, you can get him more involved. I think he's another name that can help you get through these dog weeks.
Yeah, I do want to say, I mean, I just looked it up. Trevor Lawrence is 58% rostered, but if he's available in your league, he's the top guy, right?
Yeah, he's the top guy. If he's available, I look up his name first. Maybe he's there. And definitely go grab him for rest of season value.
Yeah. So, what about the running back position this week, Greg?
Running backs, I got 3 names on this list. One being Khalil Herbert. Definitely the guy that Jamal Williams he's pretty rostered in. I think close to 60%. So look his name up first. If he's there, go put a good amount of money on him. But Khalil Herbert, I think, is next on that list. We talked about how talented he is. He's 49% rostered. Dave Montgomery, if he's out for a short amount of time, that could be 2, maybe 1 RB1 week that you could use, and that could give you a win. And even if Dave Montgomery is still going, I think he has some value, value to be pretty good in an offense that's going to run the ball a lot. So I think they'll maybe start to use him a little bit more. And he's just great stash value. Alexander Madison, he's 55% roster. He's right on that cusp, but just to remind people that he is Dalvin Cook's backup, and that he is also a guy that can be a great stash play. And if Dalvin Cook can't go for an extended period of time, he's also going to be a guy that's going to get all the opportunity to share and work out for the Minnesota Vikings. And then J.D. McKissic, deep league guy, 26% rostered, but he's averaging over 5 receptions in his first 3 weeks. Seems like Carson Wentz is making him a very popular dump down candidate, or just getting him in a lot of routes and getting him some targets. So I think in a league where you're a deeper league, or in a league where you're don't have a lot of running back depth and need maybe 9 or 10 points, J.D. McKissic is an option.
Yeah. If Jamal Williams is available in your league, he's got to be like the number one, like we said, priority ad. Yeah. Probably, I would say 50% of my budget type of guy, especially because of the value that he brings the rest of the season with the standalone value, and then also being this like automatic. We do know DeAndre Swift's injury history. Like it's not uncommon, right, that DeAndre Swift is going to get injured. So dealing with that, he's a guy that has rest of season value. Khalil Herbert, probably somewhere about like 30% of my budget. Like if we got a word that this timeline for Dave Montgomery is even longer, then that value would go up. But because there's also the built-in possibility, right? Like we've talked about this before with Dave Montgomery and Khalil Herbert, that this is a brand new coaching staff. This coaching staff did not draft Dave Montgomery, nor did they draft Khalil Herbert. But Dave Montgomery is a free agent after this season, and Khalil Herbert seems to be a guy that, throughout by all accounts, fits this offensive scheme better than David Montgomery. So they could make the decision to just move on to Khalil Herbert. So there's that built-in possibility that you could get a starting running back, in Khalil Herbert. So, I would put a bid in with that in mind for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Greg, what about the wide receiver position?
Got into 2 tiers kind of like 12-team leagues and then maybe some stash or deeper league plays. For the 12-team, I got Traylon Burks, Zay Jones, Greg Dortch, and Romeo Doubs. I think Traylon Burks is at 45% rostership. We talked about how he had a lot of routes run. I think he's going to at some point break out and be another rookie wide receiver with Chris Olave and Romeo Doubs that we're going to talk about in the coming weeks as this passing game gets better. I mean, Robert Woods got involved, so then it just shows kind of where this passing game offense could be. Zay Jones, 10% rostered. I think he's the clear the number 2 in the Jacksonville offense that's getting better week to week. Team that's in the position to win this division early in the season. So I think he's going to continue to be involved with a healthy target share. Greg Dortch and Romeo Doubs. I think Romeo Doubs over Greg Dortch. Of these 4 names, I'll probably put Romeo Doubs and Zay Jones at the top, just because the offense is there. They're attached to it. There's really no one else to throw the ball to in Green Bay as well. Allen Lazard being banged up a little bit. Robert Tonyan, he's going to get maybe his targets, but Romeo Doubs has an opportunity to break out here for sure. Getting passes from one of the greatest quarterbacks ever. And then in that deeper leagues stash area, Isaiah McKenzie, he's 41% rostered. We thought last week was the week where he could have blew up. No Gabe Davis in a high scoring game, and that didn't happen. But now yesterday, of course, he comes through and gets this opportunity. So maybe when everyone's there, he's getting the super cake matchups and he's helping out. Mac Hollins. I think keep an eye on his usage down the stretch, especially for deeper leagues if you need some wide receiver depth. And Russell Gage, 42% rostered. I think of these 3 guys, I would put Russell Gage at the top for sure. And, Chris Godwin's going to come back. Mike Evans is going to come back. But in the meantime, I think Russell Gage has a lot of value.
Yeah, wide receivers is tough because there's so many guys available. And like you said, there's some guys that could come in and we could play them for like a week or 2 weeks, but then there's other guys that maybe have some longer term value. And I really think it comes down to the roster that you have, right? Like, do you have a roster where maybe you're sitting in the top 3 teams in your league and you have a strong roster, but you are looking for some upside, like one of those pieces on your bench that could maybe become like this nitro in your flex spot, like then you go after the Traylon Burkses or the Romeo Dobbses, or if a Chris Olave is available, you go after those guys. I think you go after Chris Olave no matter what, honestly.
Yeah.
But Romeo Dobbs, you take those shots on a guy like that, or do you need a guy that you need consistent production from like this week because maybe you had DeAndre Swift in your flex or something, or something to that effect, and he's injured and now you need a wide receiver, right? So like you're going after a Mac Hollins or a Russell Gage or something like that to help you out for this week. So it just depends on the roster and the construction and how you approach it. But what about you at the tight end position, Greg? What's the waiver situation look like there?
2 names, Tyler Conklin for sure. I mean, we keep talking. I'm gonna keep bringing his name up, and he's just a guy that the Jets' first row tight end in a really long time, and He's going to eat up targets. Again, we don't know how all the target share is going to be when Zach Wilson comes back, but I think he should still be involved. He's only 21% rostered in the tight end market. For him to get the target share he's getting, he's got some tight end one value, and he's going to have some more tight end one weeks. And then Robert Tonyan, we talk about how there's not a lot of people to throw to in Green Bay. I think Robert Tonyan is going to continue to creep up a little bit in targets. Had 7 week 3, season high. So I think he's going to continue to be used, and the touchdowns should come.
Yeah, I like all those. The only question is, which one of these would you pick up and drop TJ Hawkinson for?
Tyler Conklin would possibly be a name. I think. I mean, yeah, I think they're rated around the same. If I was week to week, I think they'd both be rated the same, like rank wise.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I'm just joking around. Like, I don't think you could drop Hawk for any of these guys just because of the offense he plays in, and obviously, with Swift being out, some of the targets have to go somewhere as well. So, you don't drop Hawk, but you don't draft Hawk, and then you don't have to drop him. Before we close this out, we will take this question from Elias. Thoughts on trading Kamara and Dak for Brees and Josh Allen? Kamara is my flex. I'm using Goff until Dak is back.
Kamara and Dak for Brees and Josh. I think I'm doing that.
You said what?
I think I'm doing that. Sure.
I would have to ask Elias, who are your RB 1 and 2 if Kamara is in your flex?
Yeah, I mean, Josh Allen's the best player in this whole trade.
Yes.
You're getting Josh Allen for a quarterback that's not playing right now.
No, and we don't even know what he looks like when he is playing in 2022.
Yeah. And then
he has Saquon and Joe Mixon right now.
It's got to be like a 10-team for sure. Or maybe an 8-team.
Hey, maybe Elias is just a much better drafter than his league mates. Who knows? Saquon and Mixon. So now you're bringing in Brees Hall to be your flex, and now you have Josh Allen. That is really tough because it is, Elias is saying it is a 10-team league. So.
You get Brees, like that's a sustainable for like late, like a long season, rest of the season, like playoff time could come. That's when Brees is really probably at his highest point. He could be a league winner, and Josh Allen's every week league winner. So I'm willing to sell on that.
Says he traded Pitts and McLaurin for Mixon and MT before week 1. That's looking like a good deal for you right now, Elias.
Yeah.
Looking like a good.
Now I'm with that.
Yeah, I think I would pull the trigger on that deal. I would definitely pull the trigger on that deal. All right, that's the last question that we're gonna take for right now, just because we are over and we do have to start closing this out. So everyone, we definitely appreciate y'all for tapping in. We appreciate y'all for vibing with us on this Monday afternoon. Hope up, and when you do your State of the Union on Tuesdays, your team's not sitting there at 0-3 or 1-2. Hopefully you're in that 3-0, 2-1 territory. And hopefully I am John, but I'm talking to you, Greg, can pull out a 3-0 victory in the League of Extraordinary People. So anything you want to say to people before we close this out, Greg?
Go G-Man, man. You already know, man. We trying to go 3-0 in real life football right now. So hopefully they can get this dub. Continue to get that winning mentality before they move on from Daniel Jones.
Bryce Young will look pretty good in that red, white, and blue, huh?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, y'all. Have a good one. We much appreciate y'all, and we'll catch y'all on Wednesday when we'll break down Thursday Night Football as the Cincinnati Bengals take on the Miami Dolphins. Have a good one, everybody. Catch y'all later, and we're out of here.
We out.